You are now listening to
The Dust Jet Podcast.
Don't forget that part. We had to raise ourselves,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah. And I think that's what makes it even more tough is because you have to figure it out instead of, instead of like your parents helping you get to a better point, you gotta figure out your own way. And it's a
Yeah.
lot of, and I mean, I guess the good thing out of that is it kind of helps mature you a little bit, but at the same time, you shouldn't have to do that.
It helps to mature you, but it tears you up on the inside. Let's be real. Let's be real. It only starts to become stagnant, or for me, speaking for myself, those emotions became more stagnant as I was becoming the woman that I'm still, progressing towards today,
Mm,
because I feel like now at 38, I can control a lot of those emotions. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Um, I don't know. Let me ask you this. So this is called Motherless Child, but what does that mean to you? Do you really feel that way? That you are a motherless child?
Yeah.
Okay. So what
Yeah.
does motherless child mean to you? Why do you feel like you fit that narrative?
Well, I think it's because you know how some people call like other people their mom, their dad, their uncle, whatever. I'm not one of those.
You
So
couldn't relate to nobody like that, huh?
no, no.
Yeah.
So it's like to me it's disrespectful to that person, like if you call somebody else uncle, that's kind of disrespectful to your uncles, or you call somebody else your dad, that's kind of disrespectful to your dad. That's how I feel about it. I could just be a weirdo.
See the uncles and the aunts thing, but I'll tell you what, I can understand where you're coming from. I could never look at nobody else like my mom. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I had my mom for 17 years. Like it would bother me, and I'm not trying to step on, anybody's toes when I say it, but it would bother me when people would try to relate, our Aunt Francine is my mom. That's not my mama. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like I had 17 good years with my mom.
Right.
I know who she is. I know how she made me feel. You know what I mean? So you'll never, nobody could ever replace that.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't want to say I'm a motherless child, but I definitely will say I didn't have my mama long enough.
Right. And see, for me, it's kind of easy to say it because, you know, your key years, I don't, mine was different, so
Yeah.
like I can't, I can't say I remember anything that she taught me, or, any phrases that she would always say, I
Mhm.
can't do that,
Yeah.
I can only base it off of my stepmom,
Yeah.
and it's different, because
Do
I don't
you feel
know.
like your stepmom provided you with that nurturing feeling that you needed from, your mom, or you would have liked to have gotten from her? Because I think that's, I mean, we have to call a spade a spade. That's a problem too. She
Well,
didn't offer that maybe,
well,
or
well,
she
let me,
didn't know how.
let me say this. Well, let me say this first before I answer that. Whenever we went to live with our daddy, he was already married. So did I get any nurturing? No, I don't think so.
Mm,
Really, really, I really feel like, they were already married, and she had two sons of her own. So we were pretty much treated the same, but like I was saying, in a situation like that, you gotta put them damaged kids first. Now keep in mind, I never met my stepbrothers, daddies, nothing like that. So I mean, that's a traumatic experience in itself, but it wasn't worse than ours.
Yeah. So do you feel like you could have this conversation with your stepmom one day? Just to sit down and talk with her and say, hey, I appreciate it, you know, you doing your part in caring for us with what happened to our mom. Um, I do feel like I wish that we had a little bit more closeness to you, you know, had a more attentive relationship from you. Because I feel a little detached from you in that way. Or do you just not care? Like you don't want that from her? What she did is done. She's done her due diligence.
Mm, I don't think I could have that convo. But also you have to factor this in too. After we left Kansas City, I'm on my current. I've had two different stepmoms. So uh
Okay.
the one my dad is married to now, they've been married since like 94, 95.
Mhm.
So it's been like what, 20? Yeah, ever since I was like 10. But so it's like we came from one to another. And then, they're different in themselves, just the way they act. So it's like after the first one, you kind of get a little detached. It's like, okay, I can breathe now, I can be myself. But
Mhm.
then you go into another situation and it's like, okay, now I gotta kind of change to kind of cater to this situation now. And it's do I think I can have a conversation like that with her? Probably not, because I don't think either one of them kind of get
Mhm.
the damage that they were kind of doing, because they were too busy living their lives, and I don't think we ever really, being honest, I think ever since we left Kansas City, after our mom passed, I don't think we ever been put first. And
Bingo.
and
What it
yeah.
is.
And I think the only time that I could say that we may have been put first is in between those two relationships. That
When
was
your
like,
dad wasn't in a relationship.
yeah, that was like, those were like the best times of our lives, from my opinion. But
Okay.
you would think that having somebody else in the household with you would make everything better, or having a woman in the household with you would make everything better. But in my opinion, it didn't, because yeah, we were never put first.
So it seems like, and I just offered that as a suggestion. I definitely wouldn't be like, yeah, go ahead and do that. It was just like a suggestion, something to think about. It
Mm,
seems more so that this is on your dad. This is on his hands because he is the person that was responsible for you guys. You know what I mean?
mm,
Um, but then too, because I see this meme and it just sometimes it just pisses me off. And the meme is just like something to the effects of like appreciate your parents, or think about your parents when they were raising you, they were raising themselves, or when you were growing up, they were growing up with you. Some, I don't know, whatever.
mm,
Maybe that was a part of that. This is a man who, let's just, inherited his biological kids, um and had to adjust with you guys there in his situation.
mm.
You guys
Well,
weren't put first in that.
well, it's kind of weird, a little bit, because it was one point where he was with my mama, and and the kids and all that, and because he actually got with her when she was pregnant with Dory.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a time where he was around, and then he left. and came back to Arkansas.
Mhm.
And that's where I guess the story gets started at.
Yeah. A lot of them came up here to the city and they left. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying, men that had to do with her. I'm just saying men in general that, had some type of relationship with our family. A lot of them came up here and they
Mhm.
didn't stay. They could not handle the city life and they bounced and went right back to, Arkansas, Texas, or wherever.
Right. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. It was just weird. It's like, I kind of agree with you. So, you grow up feeling a certain way towards your daddy. Well, at least I did,
Mhm.
even though he's in your life. Just like I felt a certain way about my family that was in Kansas City,
Mhm.
like our grandma, our uncles, even our
Yep.
aunts, because I even felt a way about my brothers because I felt like I felt like everybody forgot about us.
Yeah.
So just like I never, just like with our grandma, I don't know her like y'all know her. Like I don't know anything about her.
we Some of us don't know her in that.
Right. But I mean, I don't know her, like I pretty much don't know her at
You
all.
don't know her like how we know her because you
Yeah.
weren't around her at all. We did have, times with grandma, but one thing that I've decided to grandma was hurt before she passed away. It was on my heart to talk with grandmother and ask her about her life, who
Mm,
she was, because grandmother wasn't attached to us. She wasn't that doting grandmother. She wasn't that matriarch of our family. When we were kids coming up, the matriarch of our family was Aunt Janice,
mm,
and then second to that was my mom. You know what I mean? So I could never remember grandmother being the matriarch of this family, being the head of this family. Because let's be real here, we all lost our mamas. We needed grandma. We needed her. But my point is regardless if we needed her, what could she give? I don't think she had that to give us, whatever that was. You know what I mean?
mm.
I just don't think she had that. And so I would have liked to have known why. What happened to you? Because let's be real here, grandmother had her first kid at 16. She left home. Why? You know what I mean? Like, what happened? We don't know that. We have no clue. We have uncles saying, oh, when they were 18, 16, 18 years old, grandma sent them away. You know what I'm saying? Why? Like, what was going on? You know what I'm saying? So it's so many layers to that, to where I feel like we can't even be mad about it. It just kind of is what it is with her. You know what I'm saying? And you got to be honest with yourself. Our uncles, since they not gonna tell us nothing, they not gonna tell us nothing. Or do they know about their own mom, who she was, where she came from, what happened to her?
Right.
Why did she make the decisions? Why was she so detached?
Yeah.
You
And see, I guess, that's the sad part is, you know, a lot of people, not just us, we get past pieces and we got to figure out, it's like pieces to a puzzle, but you don't know what the puzzle should look like, and you just got to figure it out. It's like we got to find our own way through life.
Well, I listen. I'm not gonna figure out their puzzles.
Right. Well,
I don't.
not their puzzles, but it's like we're passed down pieces, and we have to figure out our lives with it.
It stinks from the head
Yeah, yeah.
down to the feet. So a lot of things of what happened. Let's be real here. What happened to our aunt, your mom? We don't know why. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what was going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, what was happening? Because even today, we all feel a certain type of way about that. What happened?
Mm.
Why did y'all allow that to happen to her? You know what I'm saying? So I don't think we'll ever know the truth to that. You know, grandma passed away in 2019. She's gone now. People that probably could give us a little bit more dialogue that we could trust, they're gone. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So the best thing I think we can do is pray for that situation and move on, because to understand all that stuff is giving me PTSD. All of that. I wouldn't even want to know what was going on with that because it's a mess. All I know is I'm not going to do that with my kids and any other kids from here and going forward, you know, and that's our goal, is to make sure that we continue to raise good kids, and so that they could be good people, good citizens, you know, good husbands, good wives, good parents.
Yeah. Well, I guess, you know, yeah, we might well bring this to a close, right? Because I know you gotta go work in the morning, right?
You know it.
But I do want to say this, you know, for whomever may look at this, put your kid first. Don't forget about counseling. Even if it's a family member, don't forget about your family member. And yeah, what about you?
One thing I want to add to that is when you have children who are motherless children, whether their parents are, you know, they've passed away or they're just not around, if that child comes to you and they ask you about their parent, don't make it a selfish moment and not tell them. That little piece of information can give that child deliverance, so that when they grow up to be an adult, it's not pulling at their heartstrings. It's not, they haven't missed the mark in that place to where, you know, they're doing things that they shouldn't be doing because this missed opportunity, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, hey, I think that's a good way to sum it up. Don't miss the opportunity. You know what I mean? And any type of traumatic experience, don't miss the opportunity to be there for that person, whether it's your kid or not. You know, we had the Mitchells on Ayanla, Fix My Life.
Facts. We did. But hold on. Now, we didn't come from all that.
This is the crazy thing. Watching those episodes, I was in my feelings. Cause I was like, they stories so much like ours, like me and my brothers, with the exception of, I don't think nobody ever got victimized, you know, as a kid, you know, being, you know, somebody forcing themselves upon us, and we wasn't homeless.
Yeah.
Everything else, it was kind of the same.
Yeah. Well, that definitely could have been y'all's life had you guys stayed here.
Yeah.
For real.
And you know, this the crazy thing. They still got both their parents, or they did, you know, at the time when the episodes came out. Ain't that crazy?
Yeah, both of the parents are still alive and kicking.
Right.
But I still say it was choices on that. You know, that's another conversation because people could have helped them.
Yeah. But yeah, hey, I guess we shall see, man. You know how this goes. We go from there. But I appreciate you for taking some time out your day to sit down with me.
Absolutely.
So until next time, we out.